how to use N8N with Nano Banana. I'm going to be giving away two different templates today for free. One of them being a N8N Nano Banana template that actually generates images for free. And then the other one actually generates videos from images. We'll come on to that in a minute. So let me walk you through exactly how it works. This is the basic workflow right here. And essentially, if you're not familiar with Nano Banana, it's a new update from Google where you can generate really nice images, right? So it's a brand new image editing model. I would honestly say for my tests that it is much better than ChatGPT from what I've seen so far. As an example of this, right? So you can, for example, edit images, actually create a thumbnail with it, which is pretty nice. And essentially, how you can use this is you can use it inside the chat here as an AI agent, right? So this is a chat message. And then from there, you can then use OpenRouter's API, and they have a free version actually for using Nano Banana, the free version, right? Then once you've done that, you are going to run a request that turns the image to a video. So let me show you exactly how this works step by step. If we go inside here and we type in, for example, banana, all right, so you can see it's now generating the outputs here. So we've typed in, for example, like monkey in the chat. It's going to edit that and then turn it into a file. Really quick process. We basically put in a chat whatever image you want to generate, for example, like monkey. That's going to send a chat completion over to OpenRouter. From OpenRouter, we're going to edit the fields and take the JSON, which I'll come on to in a minute, and then convert that into a file so that we've got the output over here of a monkey, right? And so we're using Nano Banana for all of this, and it's really easy to use. Now, if you want to use the API for free on OpenRouter, you can go over to OpenRouter over here, and then you can go to models, right? So you get your model. And then the one that you're going to be using is Google Flash 2.5 image preview free, right? So this is the free API that you can use to generate images for free inside N8N. Now, if you actually host locally on N8N as well, then this is completely free too. So who we got on here? We've got MD just joined. Morning from Portsmouth. Good to see you. Jesse Jiu-Jitsu, let's go. P says, yo. Sporter says, let's go. And Mother Man says, hello from New Zealand. Yeah. So essentially, this is how you use it step by step, right? If you want to get the API key, let me show you exactly how this works. So if we pull this up full screen, let me pull this up, right? So we're using the model in Gemini 2.5 Flash image preview. Now, if you want to use the free one, all you would do is you copy this. And the reason that I'm not using the free one on this example is just because sometimes, when it's just been released and this is brand new stuff, right? When you're using the new stuff, it can fail on you a little bit. But let's try this out. So we're using the free version of Google Gemini 2.5 Flash image with OpenRouter, and it's generated the image. Beautiful. That is beautiful, right? Word first time on a live stream. Wow, I love that. Love that. All right. So Signum says, could you send the template? So the way that you're going to get access to this, you go to, and it's inside the free group, right? So it's the AI Money Lab, link in the comments description. Then you go to Classroom, New AI Automations, Google Nano Banana free. And then you've got the images and the image to video example, right? So if we want to generate just images on their own, click download, go over to N8N, import from file, upload the JSON file, boom shakalaka. There you go, it's ready to go. One thing I'm actually just going to do is I am going to save this as we're going to save this as free, right? Because this is actually using the free API and it actually works on the live stream. So I'm going to just download that and then we'll go back to the Money Lab, add that template in for you right there, right? So then if you want to use the free API, you can just use a free API version, all right? Just use that one instead. And so that's basically how you can turn this N8N into a free image generation tool that's really powerful that can just generate images for you on command. Now, bear in mind, if you're using ChatGPT's image generation API, it would be crazy expensive, it's going to be super slow, etc., and super annoying, right? Whereas you can use the free version with OpenRouter, you just plug in your details. Now, let me talk you through exactly how to set this up, right? So if you want to set this up from scratch, if you want to build it from scratch. So first thing that you're going to do is you would set up a new chat trigger. Like you can see add node, and you would add a chat trigger. So I've already added one, so I can't add a new one. Then you're going to set up a HTTP request. And this is going to change this to post, right? To post. So what this does is essentially it goes over to OpenRouter, lay in this post request. We're using this API, right? So it's OpenRouter API chat completions, predefined credential type. Credential type is OpenRouter. And then inside the credential type, right, you go to edit and you plug in your API key here. Now, if you don't know how to get your API key, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go over to OpenAPI, then you're going to go to keys, inside keys, create API key, and you just go and you plug that in directly here. You just paste your API key in, right? So we've done that. Then what you can see here is we are sending the body, right? So we're sending this body JSON type, right? So you click send body. Let me just refresh the page. Send body JSON, using JSON. And then if you want to know what the code is that we're using here, so essentially we've got the model as flash image preview free, messages, role, user, blah, blah, blah. And you can just copy and paste that, right? Or just use the template that I've given you. But essentially, the most important thing to note here is that inside the text input here, we are inputting our text so that we can tell the image generator what we want. And so just to be clear here, we've got a chat message that goes to post HTTPS request over to OpenRouter. From there, we are going to edit the fields. Now, you might be wondering, okay, why would you edit the fields? What's the point of this, right? And so this edit fields section here allows you to map manually the different parts of the JSON code, right? So you can see here, we've got the data string. And if I show you an example live, so if we type in, I don't know, cat eating banana, if we do that example right here, so that's going to run the HTTPS request using the OpenRouter, and then it's going to edit the fields. So if we open this up, it's now taken all of the data, all of this messy data, and just organized it into a nice string, right? But the main thing to note here is that what it's actually going to do is it's going to take all of this base data, and then it's going to turn it into an image, right, that you can download. So if we go over to convert to file, what this is doing is it's taking that image data, and then if we click on show data, it's taking that field mapping over here. We're going to click operation move base 64 string to file base image as the output, and that basically turns this into a downloadable image. Right? If we go to view over here, we can see our cat eating a banana, and it's pretty realistic, right? Pretty good. I'm actually going to show you some interesting ways to prompt this in a second that blew my mind earlier today. But essentially inside the edit field section, you can create that image, and then if you want to view it, you can. If you want to go back to the list and then download it, you can. And then you can see this image over here. Boom shakalaka. All right, really cool stuff. So that's essentially how you can do it. Now, that's a really basic workflow, but it works beautifully. And also, if you don't want to go through the whole process again, if you want to tweak stuff, what you can do is pin each of the modules here, right? So if you click save here, this is all pinned information. And then if you want to get the JSON file, like I said, go to the AI Money Lab, go to Classroom, new automations, new Google Nano Banana. It's right at the bottom. We do add a lot of stuff inside here for this free course. If you just want to get the JSON files, they're down here. Right? There you go. Resources. Boom. Okay. So that's basically it. Damavicious says, what time is it there? It's 4 p.m., my friend. And then from here, we've got this ready to go. Now what I'm going to show you is how to generate the video. So if you want to generate the video, you just go to this JSON file that I've attached inside the module. And it's completely free. Don't need to pay for it. This is free stuff. And then what you're going to do here is you're going to see an example like this, right? And so essentially what you can use is something called Runway, right? And with Runway, you can actually generate images to videos. So let me pull up an example. This is a super rough example, but I just want to show you the power of this. We're just going to close Llama. So this is a video that we've generated from an image, right? And so if you have images from Gemini, then you can actually turn those into videos inside N8N as well. And again, using the free API, you can generate images, then you can send those images over to Runway, and then you can generate the video from the image. Boom. All right. So let's go to how this works step by step. So again, we're starting this with a new chat trigger. So we're taking the chat input, for example, like whatever we want to create the image about. So for example, like a banana. Then from here, we've got the HTTP request, which again is just creating that image. Nothing has changed there, right? Nothing has changed there. So that's what it does. And then from here, what you can do is you can actually take the image that you have and generate a video out of it. All right, pretty simple and easy. So if we go back to, for example, basic banana image, right? We've got that image like so. Then you can generate videos with it. And you can see this is using just a sample URL inside the automation, but you can see how easy it is to do this, right? So you're basically just taking a PNG file and then you're plugging it into the process. Now, if you're wondering, okay, how do you set up Runway to use this? So you can set up a HTTP request one, right? Then you're going to go to post, you set up the URL, which is this one. This is Runway ML's setup. And if you want to create like an API key and everything like that, just go to dev.runway. This is the developer portal. And inside the developer portal, you can actually get an API key, right? So don't use the main version of Runway. Go to the developer portal at dev.runway.ml.com. Click on new API key. You can generate a new API key that you're then going to plug into a generic credential type, header auth, Runway ML. And inside the Runway ML section here, you can put authorization, right, as a name. Then you're going to put bearer. And the way that you type this out is it's a capital B. I'll put this inside the notes for you, just so you can steal this from me. So it's bearer space API key, right? And so you have to add that space in here. And you have to put bearer first in the credentials. And then that's how you can validate this, right? It's important because otherwise you won't be able to generate responses. You also have to make sure that if you're creating videos, that you've got your balance topped up on Runway. So you can see here we've added credits, and that allows us to generate responses like you can see over here, right? So you can see that we've been generating responses using this process. Really simple and easy. You see all the different models that they have here as well. So it's quite easy to turn a image to a video. You've got a lot of different options right there. And essentially, that's how it goes. Motherman says it's 9 p.m. here, and click Stanger says, yay, Julian Master Live. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching, tuning in. All right, generic credential type, header auth, Runway ML, send headers, and I'm using the X Runway version, and we just add this value in. And then on the JSON here, we send body JSON using JSON. And then if we open this up, you can see how we've plugged this together, right? And again, you would just replace that URL with an openly public URL where your PNG file is hosted, right? Really important to know that. So that's essentially how you can do this. And then you can generate videos like I was showing you a second ago inside here, right? So this module here, it sends the image to become a video using Runway. And then this section right here gets the image from Runway, right? So you can see it's using that JSON ID over here, which is pulled in from the last module. We're using a generic credential type, header auth, Runway ML, send headers, same model as before, boom shakalaka. All right. And that's basically how you can turn an image into a video using N8N and this workflow. So you can basically replace any sort of previous modules that you had and switch them over to something like this, right? Now, as an example of that, if you pull up a previous module that I've created, this is shorts automation, right? And inside the shorts automation, what we've done is we've created an idea, then that's generated a prompt, then that's going to plug in an image over to file, right? And so this section here, instead of generating the images used in Fluxnell, you could actually create the video using, you could get the image using Gemini image and then generate the video using Veo 3, right? So you can use something like this. So loads of cool stuff that you can do there. A lot of optimizations and automations you can make with that. And if you want both of the templates for doing this, we've got the image to video example, the JSON for generating images, And then finally, the free API version for generating basic images. The other cool thing that you can do over here, if we go back, right? So if we go to overview, then we go to Banana Basic N8N, you can actually make this public, right? So for example, if we click on this, make chat publicly available, then we're going to make that workflow active. All right. And then you can actually create a open chatbot that generates images directly inside the chat here, right? So if you want to use this, you can, and then you would just go through it as normal. All right, so that's basically how it works step by step, how to use it, etc. Now, there's a couple other things I want to show you here that I think are really cool. So using the custom GPT that I've built, so we actually got this is inside the AI Profit Boardroom. If you want to use this custom GPT that I've built, essentially what this does is it's an image prompter for Banana Nano, right? For Google Banana Nano. So if you want to get like better quality prompts, you can go inside here. This is custom prompted on Google's guidelines for generating responses with Nano Banana. And then from here, you can start generating responses. So for example, we could say, right, okay, give me an image of a cat playing basketball with a gang of dogs, something like that, right? And basically, using this image prompter, it's going to give us a subject, the composition, the action, the location. And that's a much better quality prompt for generating responses. For example, if we take this, it's going to have all the details of the context, the style, the editing instructions, and then it's going to have a final prompt over here. So if we take this information then we're going to go over to Google Gemini, plug this in right here, enter, and we'll get a much better output than using just a one-word prompt. And so it depends on the quality of the prompts that you want, but you could easily add this into your workflow and then generate better quality prompts as you're going along. So let's wait for this to load. Here we go. That's the image generated. And that was super cool, right? Super easy and simple to generate. We've got a cat playing against all these gangster dogs, whole crowd in the background, looking at stuff, and some squirrels at the top. Like the attention to detail is pretty cool too. But it's much better and much faster than using something like, for example, ChatGPT. The other benefit of using Gemini and Nano Banana is that when you're actually using this, you can edit the background and that sort of thing. So for example, if we wanted to say, okay, make the cat look way more ghetto and gangster, then we can actually just edit like different parts of the image, like a AI version of Photoshopped, if that makes sense. Now, if we use exactly the same prompt inside ChatGPT, right? So we're going to take this prompt and we'll use ChatGPT, which, I mean, honestly, it's like super slow, right? So if we go inside ChatGPT, I'm actually dreading using this right now. So I'm going to say, okay, create an image of this. And then if we go to Gemini, right, and we'll compare these side by side. So I'm going to pull up ChatGPT. I'm going to compare this versus Gemini. Right? So we're going to plug this in over here, and we're going to use ChatGPT to generate a response as well. And so let's see who wins. Now, I know for almost a fact that Gemini Flash Images is going to generate a much quicker and better response than using ChatGPT. But let's see what we get back here. So you can see we've already got the image back, which looks pretty good. If we have a look at the image from ChatGPT, it's just getting started, right? It literally takes 10 times longer. If you have this in your workflows, then your productivity is going to get absolutely smashed. And the reason for that is because you're waiting like 10 times longer, if not maybe 50 times longer, for the same image to be generated at a lower quality, let alone if you have any image edits that you need to change on the image. So for example, if we're using this, well, I can quickly, whilst it's still generating, I can say, okay, make the cat a green alien. And whilst ChatGPT is still messing around generating, I think we can even make edits quicker with Gemini, but let's see. We'll see which one comes back first. We've actually generated 2 images with edits in the space of time it took to get the image back from ChatGPT. It's just ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Darren says, what if we take old technology and build a bridge to connect it to new technology that is a lot cheaper and easier for government, mining, transport, and banking to adopt? Probably a little bit off topic there, mate, but yeah, I see what you're saying. I think it is a bridge, to be fair. If we have a look at these images as well, side by side, this one is more photorealistic, but it just looks a lot weirder, right? Like what's going on with that dog's arm over here? Whereas, for example, if we look at this image, there's a lot more detail, like I was saying. It's a lot cooler. It's a lot more interesting. I would say this one is going to capture attention more. Andrew says, Julian, you are awesome. You're an absolute legend. Andrew, I appreciate it, man. Thanks very much. It's really, that makes it worth everything that I do to get good feedback and stuff. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But if we have a look here, so if we've got the gangster cat, we've got the cat over here, we've got the alien, so like you can build really cool stuff with Gemini Banana, and it's way faster and way easier. Andrew says, what's your main chosen model? So for using images, like I was saying, I use Nano Banana. I think it's way better than ChatGPT image creator. The other thing that I'd be tempted to do, and I've not tested this out yet, but one thing that I would like to try is actually building an app using the API from Google Image as well. Maybe we can test that out in a second. But essentially, before we do that, I want to show you something else. And this is absolutely amazing. I've actually linked to Machina inside the free module of the AI Success Lab, but this blew me away, right? So essentially, what you can use inside Gemini, if you're creating better prompts, and you can put this inside your N8N workflow if you want to, is you can take these prompts and use them as presets for like logos, ads, that sort of thing. And there's 20 different JSON templates inside here. So I'm actually going to put this inside the description of the video from today as well. So that's on YouTube too, just in case you want to check it out. But if you want to, for example, generate like a really cool output here, let me show you some examples, right? So if you wanted to generate, let's say like a game style image, like you can see right here, shout out to Machina again for doing this. You can actually take this JSON prompt and you can plug that into Gemini Nano Banana when you're creating the outputs, right? So for example, if we take this over here, we're going to copy that JSON, we're going to plug it into Gemini, we're going to switch tools to images, and then we're going to say, okay, create a zombie apocalypse image, something like that, right? And then that's going to start generating the image, but it's going to be using the JSON that we're filtering it through, which means that we get much better responses from the image because it's stylized to that custom code we've plugged in, right? And that means that you've got a custom preset if you want consistent outputs. So you see how this is created an image right here, like in a game style, right? It looks way more interesting. And so you can generate beautiful images using these presets and they look really cool. Sporter says, if you want to impress us, have a gangster cat rap whilst balling. All right, let's try this out. So I'm going to change this to, let's see what styles we got on the list here. So we got the game one is really cool. This is kind of like a comic book style one. This is photorealistic, which I really like as well. So we'll try this one for the image. So I want to take the JSON over here. We're going to plug this in to a new chat, right? Tools, images, go up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the image prompter, and I'm going to say, okay, give me an image of a cat playing basketball, cat with a gang of dogs, rapping whilst balling, right? And we'll get that image prompt generated first, and then we'll use that to generate the outputs, right? So we're going to take this text like so, go back to Gemini, plug this in at the top, right? Hit enter. And now we can start generating better responses. And that should use the custom prompts from ChatGPT along with the photorealistic JSON from Machina. And then if we go over here, we have the image, and there we go. So you can see how easy that is to do. Super simple. And it really didn't take long to generate at all. All you have to do is just run those prompts step by step using the process I've given you. Works really well. You actually get much cooler, better outputs. I would say that looks more interesting than the original one that we generated and less cartoonish as well. And then also here's the other thing. So if we download that full size, this is something that ChatGPT can't do as well. So if we download that and click Strango says top results, appreciate it. Sporter says, oh, thanks very much, sir. And then 4M4 log says, "Hi, Julian. Thanks so much. Your video pushed me forward with N8N." That's what I'm talking about, man. Let's progress humanity with N8N automations. All right. So now we're going to take the image over here that we just generated, right? So this is the one of the gangster cat rapping whilst balling. And here's where we're going to take it to another level, right? So we're going to add in that photo of the image from Gemini, and then we're going to say animate this, right? And so we're using Layer 3, which is the built-in automation from N8N, and we're going to use that to generate a video, right? So you can see here it's now generating that video using Gemini. Not only does Gemini have the fastest image prompter in the world, it also has a built-in video generator that you can't get inside ChatGPT. And then we're generating the video over here. So that's going to take a couple of minutes. But yeah, you see how it works. So final thing that I haven't tested out, but I want to know whether you can do it or not. Probably there's some people watching who can do this. But essentially, I think inside Bolt, you could, for example, use the Nano Banana image API to generate a image tool, right? So essentially what we're going to try and do here is create an image tool using the image API from Google so that, for example, we could generate like images or thumbnails, whatever we want directly here. All right. So if you've never used it before, it's kind of like an app builder, and it can build websites too. And it is very simple because you're just using plain language to describe what you want. And so using that, we can then create the tools that we have in mind, right? So if you always had a tool that you wanted to create, let's say, for example, you want to create an image tool using the Nano Banana API, I'm pretty sure you could do it using this process. It would just take a lot of back and forth. I actually did something similar with the ChatGPT image previewer. But yeah, you get the point. So you can build those sort of tools directly inside Bold.new as well, which would be really cool. Final thing that I want to show you, if you go over to AI Studio, this is another way you can use it for free, and you can get a free API key from here. I know a lot of people think that you have to pay for API keys. You don't if you're using OpenRouter or AI Studio on Google. So if we go to aistudio.google.com, then we are going to go down to chat. Inside chat, you can select Nano Banana, and you can start using this directly here as well, right? So you can start generating responses directly inside the chat here. And it's free up to a certain limit, right? Obviously, if you're going crazy with it, then that's not going to work. But if you want to just quickly play around with it for free, then you can use AI Studio as well. It seems to be a little bit slow. So it took 9 seconds to generate that. But again, like how much faster is that than using something like ChatGPT? And good luck if you need to create some edits as well. Andrew says, Bolt is amazing. I'm trying to use Bolt and N8N together. Yeah, I think that would be really cool too. But yeah, essentially that's how it works. If you love like N8N automations like this, feel free to get the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description as well. If you type in N8N here, go to Classroom, then go down to N8N templates and workflows. You can check out all of our N8N workflows here, and we have attached JSON files for each workflow, right? So if you want to learn how to build with this stuff, you can. If you've never used it before, but you're curious about learning it, you can start with the 6-week AI Automation Masterclass, and we'll literally show you how to create your first AI agent in 5 minutes. It's crazy. Anyone can learn this stuff from scratch. And then also we do daily coaching sessions. So we have 5 a week. And inside the community here, we have a very active community of people who just want to learn and grow together inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Like I said, the free automations from today are inside the AI Money Lab. Before anyone comments like this is not free, blah, 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 you can get them inside the resources here, import them into N8N. You can actually host N8N locally if you want to use N8N for free as well. So all of this stuff is free, and you can get a free API key from OpenRouter. So no need to comment that it's not free, because it definitely is. 4M4 log says, or Analog says, I managed to make a huge writes program in Google AI Studio and ported to VS Studio to change the integrated AI services to VLM. It's massive work. Yeah, I would agree. Like, it's just amazing what Google AI can do. And it's clearly dominating, right? I think actually ChatGPT makes the most revenue from what I've heard when it comes to its AI, but Google absolutely crushes when it comes to its outputs, right? This is generated like an example AI image generator But the thing is, you want to actually have an option to plug in your API key here. So I would just plug it in all the information about API guidelines for coding with Nano Banana, and you can just plug those in the chat, create a tool with it, boom shakalaka. You're living the dream, right? So thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments and description. And yeah, we've got loads of good stuff going on in there. And then also, if you want to book in a free AI automation session with us, where we can basically look at your business, look at what you're spending most time, and then help you figure out how to automate it, you can book in a automation session right here. We'll basically on that call look at the time audit, build out the systems for you, and then do the hands-free stuff for you as well. Final thing I wanted to show you was the video that actually got generated by Bayo 3. So let's have a look at this. This will have sound as well, but I'm not going to play sound because it won't sound on the live stream. But essentially, you can see how we've generated that video using Bayo 3. Thank you for the reminder, Sportus. I appreciate you. Yeah. So let's have a look at that. It looks really cool, right? And that was all generated from this image with Nano Banana. And then you can even do that inside N8N like I showed you earlier today. Boom. All right. So thanks so much for watching. I will see you on the next one. Cheers everyone who tuned in. Appreciate all the comments. Sportus, you're an absolute legend. Click Stanger, you're an absolute legend. Andrew, you're a legend. And I'll see you on the next ones. Cheers. Bye-bye.